changed over the years. Danger has remained the same. Ah, Jam! 10 competitors, 2 rings, 1 cage, no holds barred.
Welcome to the Dirty Sheets, everybody. We are here. We are queer. Let's get our asses in gear. We are going to give you the rundown of Survivor Series and give you a couple tidbits and thoughts on what we think might happen. I'm Cav Manning. I'm from the Lingus Mafia podcast. All of my nonsense is at Lingus Mafia. We are also at Dirty Sheets X for all of your Dirty Sheets needs. I am along with your number one for all of your wrestling news. He just came out of the closet. That's Mr. Billy Body.
Hello. Just very quickly. There is a betting preview for this show over on the Lock Betting Podcast. So we wanted to primarily focus on going in depth on this show. So we're not going to sort of recover those matches and give our predictions for each individual match. Here we're going to talk about a few of the subject matters that we wanted to elaborate on that show. So the way I would do it is I would go over there now, pause, go and take in that preview, which gives you predictions and betting lines. That's where we're going to talk about the main event, the women's match, the women's war games, the men's war games, and the other matches. And here we're going to pick up and elaborate on subjects that we didn't want to talk about over there because we wanted to mainly keep it about predictions. So the first thing we are going to talk about is not going to be CM Punk, but he will be on this show. We're going to finish out with that because that's obviously going to be the prime topic. But I want to pick up with the Gunther Miz conversation, and then I want to move to Escobar and what you thought about SmackDown and whatnot. And then we'll talk about CM Punk. And after that, if there's any other ads, additions, any extra stuff you want to discuss, we'll do that as well. So, yeah, the Gunther topic that we were talking about on the other show, where I said, I know it was scripted, but did you see any truth to what he was saying about Miz in terms of Miz simply just being this kind of sports entertainer, comedy clown, and Gunther being this very, very boring, just straight up wrestler who didn't have any entertainment value apart from the in-ring?
I think they both had truths in them. How
do you feel? What I'm trying to get. How did you?
The funny thing is, like, when Miz has done things to where he's gotten fucking serious and like really fucking straight, I think he's been fucking great. Like when we've seen him do the whole fucking thing on Brian, right? In the promo. It's shit like that where it was like, man, that's really fucking good. But that's not what he does. That's like, I like that it's in his repertoire to be able to. Maybe he should do a little bit more of that, but at this point that's not what he is. He is his character. He is what he is. When it comes to Gunther is the wrestling machine, obviously, and he's not Mr. Personality. But at the same time, he conducts himself well enough to where I'm fine with him not being Mr. Character. I'm fine with him being this is what he is, because it wouldn't make sense him going out there trying to fucking smile and be goofy. It's not him, let alone him as a character. And he does so well in the ring with selling and executing. I could go for if he had some more size to him. I think that would help him. I think if he bulked up, it would be one of those, like, he's nearly unstoppable. But he looks frail to me because of his like all the weight loss stuff, right? Because he's tall and lanky, very Frankenstein. But he's very good at what he does. And I think the way he sells is fucking fantastic. And when he gets on mic, it's not like you can't understand a fucking word. He has an accent, who cares? But he's very believable to me with what he says, and he's not a guy who is frozen when confronted with something. Like the crowd starts in with USA. That shit wasn't scripted. He fucking went right into it about, it's the weakest response that a crowd could do. Throw 3 letters at me like I'm bothered by it. And, like he really got, was like, shit. Well, that was out of nowhere because since when have they fucking chanted USA at him, So I think obviously both things had truth to them. A matter of how much truth did you really care about, though, with them, because we already kind of know about those.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's found a niche within a niche. I think for him to be this foreign wrestling machine was a niche character anyway. But in order to sort of have that way of talking around it and having this sort of this cadence around it is very unique as well, because he's not, if you remember back in the day, the way Baracus, there was a guy called Baracus who never came in and did anything. And he was a big bodybuilder, and he was supposed to be almost like WWE's Arnold Schwarzenegger. So you're going to have this foreign European in who's just going to be this big muscular guy who beat people up. And the other way to go with that is to say, I hate USA, I hate USA. He hasn't done any of that. He's just gone down the route of being this European who's a good European wrestler. And his tone, his cadence, and his promo style is just very pretentious. It's like, I'm better than you because I have this European demeanor, and I believe that Europeans are better than Americans without saying it. He just acts like he's better than people. There isn't that because you're American, because you're Canadian, because you're anything attached to it. It's just actually just emphasizing the European element of it. I'm better because I'm me, and because I'm European, and because I'm from Austria, Germany, whatever. It's not because I'm better than you because you are shit. He's been very careful not to go down that route where he has shat on towns or people or anything like that. The USA thing was brand new, but it's brand new because they've not hit that nail. They've not gone down that route where they've tried to elicit US chants instead. Instead, they've avoided that and just simply tried to say where we're from and what we are and how we do things. We're better than you. And they've done a good job with that. And that's, as I said, a niche within a niche.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said about that.
But do you buy him as the next level? That's the main question. Do you buy him as a champion, a face, a Royal Rumble winner? Can he walk into WrestleMania as champion or challenge?
I think so. I think he can do that. I don't see him doing like you're saying beforehand on the other show about can he do commercials or something like that, in real life type of shit. No. I can see him winning the Rumble for sure. This title run has obviously pushed him beyond, showing that he can do things. And before I was not that high on him, it's like, yeah, he's Mr. He's the ring general, as they say. And it's like, okay, whatever. But the way he does have the match, I think he's really good at what he does, like I'm saying, with the selling and all that kind of stuff. So him going into Mania, and even him, he's not the flashy guy, right? And that's what you always like go, I don't know. Because if it's him and Roman, I'm interested in it. And I don't know. It's like, I don't know how I feel about it, but I know I'm interested in it. And wow, how would they do this? At this point, for me, I don't know. Like, if that was at Mania, I don't know which way I think it would go. The only thing weird about that is that they're both bad guys. And you go, well, if you're going to have someone beat Roman, it's probably going to be a good guy that everybody could fucking cheer and go crazy, right? But if you're just having a match and it's like, it's practically 2 undefeateds, I mean, sure, they've both lost, but not for a very long time. So to have that match, I'd be like, I would like to see what the fuck they did, because it's hard for me to see either of them straight getting pinned. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. It's not likely to be Roman, and it's likely to be, I would say, Seth. And if it's Seth, and we have to navigate some obstacles here, like say Drew is unsuccessful if he gets the rematch. Let's say that the Priest cash-in messes up because of the dissension in the ranks, and Judgment Day somehow find a way to mess that up. Or even if we go down a route of Priest is successful, but Rollins wins it straight back. Whatever it may be, if we do wind up with Seth walking into WrestleMania as the champion, do you buy Gunther as the challenger for that? Is that main event significantly weaker than whatever they're doing on SmackDown, which is probably going to be Cody and Roman? Do you buy Gunther as the winner? What do you do with the Intercontinental title? Do you go down the relinquish path after all this? Or do you think that he's capable of winning the Rumble, losing the IC title, and then going to Mania? Can you lose a title after the Royal Rumble? Do you relinquish it? Do you lose it beforehand? Like, how do you book this if it's the Seth situation? Or do you just have both belts and then you give one up when you've got two?
I could easily see him beating Seth, and that's an easy way to go, I think. And believable, and makes him even stronger. Because if he goes in there and like just fuck, I don't know if you got to squash anybody, but hard fought, and he fucking leaves him laying. And because I think they've tried to make Seth, try to make this belt mean something, so they've had him win pretty fucking good matches. So trying to build that. So if then Gunther beat the shit out of him, I think that would be major. And I don't know. I think that would be the way to go if they're going to do it, as in don't have him lose the IC. I mean, it's just going to hurt. Unless the only way they do those type of things is always on a three-way, right? Or he didn't lose it. That's the only place to do that. But otherwise, have the belt and have it be title for title. Have it be Warrior Hogan, on a way less level. And have it be winner takes all, and then have him hand over that fucking belt.
Go back 2 seconds. Why you said way less level? That means it's not working.
Well, when way less because Hogan is not Seth, and Warrior is not Gunther. That's right, completely enormous.
Okay, then it's not working, because Warrior was only an Intercontinental champion going into that match. He was a 2-time Intercontinental champion. Prior to that, he had lost the belt at WrestleMania 5 the year before and regained it at 89 SummerSlam. So from 88 SummerSlam going into WrestleMania, he had a 20-month stint as Intercontinental champion, which was interrupted by Rick Rude for 4 months, right?
Yeah.
So that is not as strong as Gunther. Like, in terms of the booking that Gunther has received, the unstoppable booking, the undefeated run that he's been on, that was not afforded to the Warrior. But you just said it's not Hogan Warrior. Now, Gunther should be in a position where he looks like Warrior or he looks like Goldberg, but there is something missing. As much as we're okay with what they're doing, is that us kind of lowering our standards down to the modern era, or is there something genuinely missing there? Because for you to say it's not Warrior, it's not Hogan, I 100% agree with you. Seth is not Hulk Hogan. Seth shouldn't even be champion. And I'm not a fan of his work and his character at all. He's a very good wrestler. He's very good to put in the middle of your card to have a very good match. But I still believe, when I see Seth Rollins, I see Dolph Ziggler, who got pushed. I see someone who's got no more talent, no more charisma, no more personality, isn't as appealing to women, isn't as appealing to children. I just see Seth Rollins as the Dolph Ziggler who actually got his push, whereas Dolph Ziggler became a gatekeeper, which is what I think was probably about right for him. And I also believe, because I don't think he was the next Shawn, and I also don't think that Seth is the next Shawn, but Seth is booked significantly better, and there's just been zero interest in anything that he's done. Poor T-shirt sales, poor social media numbers, poor action figure sales, poor ticket sales, poor in terms of how he's pushed. by comparison to other people in the company who have been given these pushes, such as Roman, Cena, etc. So I definitely know Seth Rollins is not Hulk Hogan. So I would be all for Gunther going there and squashing him. He won't, because this is modern day wrestling, and modern day wrestling is dictated by these fucking losers who watch both AEW and WWE and Japanese wrestling tapes and know everything on the internet, and they won't accept anything other than a 30-minute match between these two where everything in existence is kicked out of, because that's going to be the match that they do, and nothing else will be acceptable. And Hunter as well, he's kind of been sucked into this because he's a wannabe Paul Heyman. He wants to be loved by everybody. He wants to be seen as this guy who puts on this great wrestling, and he will also be taken in by this and will not elevate Gunther the way that he should be. Gunther needs that quick win, and he needs to go into this as an Intercontinental Champion, and he needs to surrender it because that will elevate him. What we'll get instead is a long match, which he may win or may not win, because even this entire match is hypothetical. But the fact that you said this ain't Hogan Warrior, when in fact it is champion versus champion, you're basically saying both of these guys are nowhere near the level of those two guys. I understand it with Seth. I don't understand it with Gunther. And if you're right, and I agree with you, you are right. But why are you right? Why are you so right about what you said? Because Gunther is a warrior, even though he's been put better.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the time, as in this, day and age compared to back in the glory days, and the oversaturation and being on every fucking week and seeing it every week, where before it was spectacular.
Is Gunther, let me give you another question. Is Gunther Sid? Is Gunther Psycho Sid? If Psycho Sid was challenging Hogan as a bad guy for his belt, would you say that Gunther is at least equivalent to him, where he's this big heel challenger, very strong push, lots of wins? Do you think that he is in the same breath as him?
I don't even think he's in the same breath as Sid. I don't think he's in the same breath as Sid, because Sid was around a long fucking time, and I think at the same time people rooted for Sid as a fucking person too, because it was like, this motherfucker, when are they gonna fucking do something? And like, people were genuinely like happy when he fucking beat Shawn Michaels. Like, it was like, finally you fucking got it, like that Vlad guy was like fucking hugging him afterwards. He's like, you fucking did it. Yeah, it was like Sid was,
but that's the Shawn Michaels win. That's the Shawn Michaels win. That's not the 1992 where Sid turned and went up against Hulk Hogan. Now, if Hulk Hogan had won the 92 Royal Rumble, for example, or if we didn't do the whole thing where it was vacant, would you have accepted Sid as the challenger? Like,
totally.
Totally.
Sid had a look too. See, here's the thing: the Sid was look at the size of Sid, and like, if Gunther was put together like Sid, oh fuck, I'd go tell him to beat Roman now. It's a lot of it to me has to do with the look, and I'm like, he's skinny. I mean, he's got that. They use him as like a brute. And slapping everybody and, towering over people and stuff. But at the same time, he's pretty skinny.
Yeah, it's a very difficult thing to sort of compare, because it's not very often that you have these heels who go on undefeated streaks and who are unbeatable and getting clean wins. So you have to use, the reason why I had to use Sid was because I can't use Ted DiBiase, Rick Rude. I can't use these people cheated, and these people were beaten a lot in feuds, or they would lose by countouts or whatever. So he can't be Mr. Perfect or Ted DiBiase or Rick Rude, because they're not comparable. No, they were not afforded clean heel victories. The only person that came to my mind was Psycho Sid. He was the only one who was booked in that manner. Later on down the line, there were a few more guys that got that kind of push, but they're not really comparable to where Gunther's at. I think Lex Luger was one, maybe the narcissist Lex Luger character. He got quite a few wins when he was being built up in '93. But yeah, it's a unique.
Another one that's odd if you look at it, and I don't think it occurs to anybody when you look at it like, oh yeah, he shouldn't have a chance in the world, is $1 Million Man. You always thought he was capable enough, right? And look how much smaller he was than Hogan. Like, he was significantly fucking small. But you always had the belief it's fucking, fuck, guy's technical and this and that, and he's really good. So it never occurred to me when I would see DiBiase compared to any of the fucking monsters, like, oh, fuck, look how much smaller he is. I never had that thought in my head. I had the thought he won't win because he's a bad guy and, he's just going to be the guy who loses.
But he had the equalizer. He had Virgil out there. He had the money to buy off refs, or he could cheat in matches and whatnot. He wasn't a flat-out heel. I'm actually thinking of a second example now, is The Undertaker. The Undertaker rolled into 91 Survivor Series without a televised loss. He was losing on house shows all the time to Ultimate Warrior. But by the time he walked into Survivor Series, which is actually what we've just done a whole show on, he walked in as the challenger for Hulk Hogan. Do you see Gunther aligned with him at least? Or here's another one, Diesel 93, 94 version didn't have many losses either. I'm trying to work out where
get a comparison is very hard to do. He's very much his own guy. Like, I'm trying to even think of, that comparison, because I'm like, oh, well, this other person had, a lot of personality.
But he's better than he's better than Alex Wright though, right?
Yes. Yeah, by far.
Because that's the other comparison. If you want to go too far down the other way, you could say, oh, we had this character before. His name was Alex Wright, because we did.
Well, what was the comparison? Because he's German? I mean, that's the only comparison, though. I mean, if you want to just say because he's from somewhere.
You have the accent too, and Alex Wright was given a title as well.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a dominant, guy though. He wasn't Mr. fucking I'm going to come in there. It's
no, but then Sid wasn't German, or neither was Undertaker. So you can't. We used those guys as heels who won cleanly and were pushed strong, but they weren't German. Now we go to the European guy. He doesn't have the strong wins, but he does have the German accent, and he did have a title. So there are little pieces of everybody in Gunther. You've got a piece of Sid, piece of Undertaker, piece of even Triple H, the Bluebird version, piece of Alex Wright. There are little pieces that we've seen historically. The concern I have is that all the pieces of the pie don't add up to a main event character that you would accept. You'll turn around, and it's almost like your attitude, and it's the same as mine, where you'll turn around and go, well, if Kofi's had it, well, if Big E's had it, if Jinder Mahal's had it, and Sheamus had it, and we've had all of these lower champions, he's nowhere near as bad as those. He's not bottom 10. So that's kind of where the bar is. But I think that we're in a position, especially after Roman's reign, and what Roman's done with the other title, we should be getting away from that, where we're saying, okay, we want to erase Kofi and Jinder and all these guys, and actually we don't want to go back down there again. We don't want Gunther being the 35th best champion of all, on the list, or just being slightly outside of the bottom 10. This is, do you know what I mean? This is somebody who you'd look at and go at the moment and say, oh yeah, he'd get a good draft pick as a shit champion. But we don't want him. We don't want him there. We want these 14-3 kind of champion. If someone's going to get rid of Rollins' reigns, Rollins' run, he needs to be. Which is why I've always said, don't fucking handcuff Cody and put him in a situation where he keeps saying that he has to face Roman, because you could have Cody on Raw now with this title. It's still a fucking title, and he's the right guy to have it because he elevates that belt and makes it seem more important. The prospect of Cody and perhaps Gunther, if this does happen, going into the first week after WrestleMania as champions, with no Roman on television now after that, it does not excite me at all. That looks like a dark time for me. And the only reason why I kind of feel that this is more possible is if you look ahead, and we mentioned this in a group chat, but you missed it, obviously. If you look ahead to the pay-per-views that they booked ahead, it's just very odd to me that they're doing Backlash and Leon, and then you have this German pay-per-view as well. And that all, to me, sets up towards, if you're not pulling the trigger at Mania, you're certainly making the guy the champion this year at some point. That's just how I feel.
You don't think he's going to go another year?
I think he's going to go into Germany as champion, or he'll win the belt in Germany.
Oh, you're talking Gunther.
Yeah.
I see. I'm thinking about Roman being champion for another.
No, Roman's done. I think.
I'm thinking to beat the Hogan thing. God, yeah, I mean, that would be an idea though, to have Gunther take that fucking Rollins title in fucking Germany.
But if it's not in Germany, if he's just defending it in Germany and he does win it at WrestleMania, and you do come out of WrestleMania as Cody and Gunther, how much more, or probably not more, less watchable does this make this show? Because I know we always talk about how we're struggling anyway. That doesn't excite me at all.
Yeah, I would like to see the whole like you're saying, like Gunther versus Rollins, and it's title for title. I would actually like that. I think it would be very obvious though that Gunther would win that, but I don't know if that changes my opinion of it.
But I'm talking like we're 3 weeks into April. WrestleMania is 3 weeks in the past. Gunther's your champion now. Cody's your champion now. On Cody, you've got Solo Sikoa as the number one contender. He's trying to get the belt back because he's trying to get revenge for Roman. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what you're looking at. SmackDown. Solo's the challenger for Cody. Over on Raw, Seth Rollins wants a rematch. Are you excited by this? Like by what you're getting at Backlash?
I mean, for the most part, after WrestleMania is the fucking letdown. It's the because it's Christmas. Everybody got to fucking Christmas, and that's what it is. It's like, all right, you had your Christmas, and now you're playing with your toys, and it's that fucking downside almost. It's where things are quiet. So I think they just try to get by and have the rematches. It's like, all right, let's get through this month.
So let me chuck you a curveball then. Like, would it have been more exciting for you had they done, or would it be more exciting as a television product had Logan Paul been carrying the Money in the Bank instead of Priest, and he cashed in at WrestleMania? And whilst you've got Cody as the champion over on SmackDown, who beat Roman Reigns, and he's going into the program with Solo Sikoa, on Raw you're starting something brand new. You've got Logan Paul, after cashing in his Money in the Bank, starting the era of Logan Paul as the champion on Mondays. Is that more appealing than Gunther as a TV product? It is, isn't it? Right?
It is. Yes. It's from personality.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's somebody who's lively and has personality is always going to beat the other one out. Even as much of a non-talker, I guess people like to say that Brock is. I think Brock holds his own. I mean, he's not like, doing cartwheels and shit like that, but he's very suitable enough to be talking and beyond believable in the fucking ring. So it's like he has just enough personality to where you'd be fine with him on TV too, It's that kind of a thing.
Let's shift and talk about Santos Escobar, because we're of the same opinion. Do you know what? I honestly thought on Friday he did well, but I thought it would be something that slipped under the radar. Mm-hmm. I just caught myself. The way I kind of watch modern day wrestling is I'm half on my phone, especially on a Friday. We're thinking about like what I'm doing betting wise. NFL's coming up. NFL the weekend and soccer and whatnot. So I'm half watching it, and then I'm like into it. I'm watching it and going, this guy's actually pretty good. He's talking a lot of sense. He's making good points. He brings her out, Zelina out here. She slaps him. She's crying. She's good. The way that she speaks always, and she's got the big titties on her little body, which I like. Then the tag team come out and he beats them up, and I thought that was good as well. But even everything that got to that point, everything he said was very well articulated. And as I mentioned on the show, which is a controversial take, he's the good version of Andrade. I think he's equal to him in the ring. I think there's nothing Andrade can't do that he can't do. I believe they're equal in the ring. I think Charlotte feels like she married the wrong one, because
like,
if this
give me
is
another
fight,
Mexican.
go for the yeah, give me the one that can fucking speak to me. Maybe she doesn't want anybody who can. Well, maybe she's crazy and she just wants someone who can't listen to her shit.
Maybe, because that makes no sense. That, like, I can't imagine anybody like dating somebody that couldn't speak their same fucking language easily. You know, it's how the fuck do you fall in love with somebody that you can't talk to?
I saw her, like, I was on a bike next to her once, so she was just going. She was really angry on the phone that she couldn't get egg white omelets, and she couldn't get egg whites, and then when she did get them, she could tell. She asked for a specific way, and that she could tell that it was an egg white mix, and she asked them to remove the yolk to actual crack real eggs, real egg whites, because the liquid egg whites bloat her, and she was really pissed off. Like, this is the level of woman that I think that we're dealing with, which is
have a yolk. It ain't gonna kill you. Fuck.
A bit bloats her apparently. So yeah, she was complaining that, and complaining to the point where she was on a cross trainer and needed to actually phone someone about this, to vent about she was given liquefied egg white instead of the actual egg white from the egg. I listened to this whole conversation. I was like, wow, like a fucking husband has to deal with this shit, or whoever. But yeah, she seems very, very high maintenance. So perhaps like a non-English speaking person's best. But ultimately, it's not good. It's not good for wrestling. So you have an English speaking good Andrade here, a wrestler who's as good as Andrade, speaks better English. I said on the show they should just put him backwards Zelina and recreate that combination, because that was absolute fucking fire in NXT. And it'd be even better now when she's a good talker. And for her to actually now, because she's sexy and that's hard to like boo her. She doesn't, these types, when you look like that, like her or Scarlett, you can't get any genuine heat. But if you turn on someone like Rey Mysterio, that's very good for getting heat. And we've seen what it's done for Dominic. So if she was to do that, that would kind of, obviously it wouldn't erase how she looks entirely, because she always comes out looking great. But it would be, I think, a good way towards giving her some heat. So I would pair them back up together, and I would push him. I think there's a big upside to him. And yeah, I honestly thought when I reached that conclusion and wanted to discuss that I would be alone. I honestly thought that our conversation would be something along the lines of, I didn't really notice, I'll go back and watch it again. But you did notice.
Oh,
so
God,
that's
yes.
good.
Yeah, and those type of things are the ones that always get me most, because I want to hear the reasons. And for you, usually they disappoint me. The reasons as like, why Drew, why, one of those things, you know, which we were kind of down a little bit on, you know, Drew's reason is, you know, constantly fucking Jay, you know, it's like, I mean, come on. But this made all the sense in the world. And this is what you were thinking, probably the same as I was, where we knew the reason and we're like, just please say that this is the fucking reason, because it makes sense that he's being blamed where he's done nothing but be loyal. And, you know, and you bring in an outsider in and you fucking take his word. You've been with me. What the fuck? So it made sense, at least. And that's what they expressed. And having the other guys come to the ring and he's like, all right, are you guys with me? And they're like, no. And he's like, then get the fuck out of here, you know, and El Kabong's them. Those other guys need him. They should be going with him and turning bad, because fuck, they get nervous every time the phone rings that they're going to get fired. I love that one's a Filipino and he's in the LWO, but that's okay. Yeah, those two I think need something to do more than anything else.
But more than her, you think she fits in with the LWO?
I think she can. I think she's like pretty and people like her and stuff like that, and she could be a good guy. I think she showed, you know, when she was in Puerto Rico and had her match and all that kind of stuff, that she could be, you know, pushed as something. I mean, she could be both sides, really. I mean, maybe eventually she turns and goes that way, but they better make it make sense after this, because, you know, she made too much of a point of like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know, he's our guy and all that kind of shit. And then it'd be weird if she then just, you know, flipped and went with him now.
Yeah, that's the point, because it's been said, and I mean, there's
always ways out. Yeah, yes, exactly.
There are swerves, but the swerve, I don't like it when it gets physical. When the swerve is when someone's acting and they're crying or whatever, it's different. But like, it's always a bit of a reach when he says, "I told her to slap me."
Yeah,
You know?
and it's like, oh, I took one for the team, you know, or when they're in matches and they're getting their asses beat up by the other fucking person, and then they fucking turn with them, and you're like, but that's when it makes no sense. You got to have them never touch, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we're both on the same page with that one. And the last thing we're going to discuss, which is, as I say one more time, there is a proper preview. So if you're thinking, why the fuck are these guys not talking about War Games, and how they're not talking about Drew and the Judgment Day against the who's the team? Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn,
and Orton.
I know Randy. I know Orton, but there's one more.
Sami, Cody.
Who did I miss? Sami, Cody, Jay,
Orton, and Seth.
Who's the other guy? Oh, what a champion!
That stunning champion! Like you would have forgot Hogan on his.
I didn't even do that. I didn't even do that on purpose. I swear to you. Fuck me, that's bad. So yeah, I mean, that we talked about that already. We talked about Orton. We talked about all of that stuff. So that's why it's not here. It's not some sort of oversight. These are topics that we decided to elaborate on the show. Otherwise, the betting show would needlessly have been an hour. But let's talk about Punk. What are you expecting now?
Oh boy,
this weekend.
I'm really hope. My cousin asked me this last day. He goes, "Do you think he's going?" It really is 50-50. I'm thinking he has to be. I refuse to believe that this is not happening. It has to be happening. My God.
Well, I'm here. I'm here watching on TV. It's gonna fucking suck.
I love that it's gonna kill you. That's so great. Where I'm like, I'm perfectly fine to watch it at home. It's fine.
You like staying at home.
I love to fucking stay at home. You kidding me? Fuck. The plague was the best time of my life. I never had to leave the house. The only thing that sucked is there was no sports.
There are some people I hear saying that, and like I heard some people saying that about how they miss COVID, and there are days that there was something about it in terms of where there should be like a day, a couple of days a month, I think, where you just have to fucking where they close everything and you have to fucking stay at home.
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, there was a thing to it. Like I said, if sports was on TV, there wouldn't have been a problem. We were watching cornhole, for God's sake. There was nothing. That blew. But I can't imagine he's not there. The way he talked about it on radio shows, it wasn't a convince. Like, he never said no, unless he does that just to be a fucking, troll and knows, well, I'm going to say it like this, even though I know I'm not going, but I want people to fucking, but then why would he be fucking people who were into him, So he really was like, no, I don't have a ticket, one of those. So it was, I'm like, I'm taking care of my dog. Fuck, like your wife's not home to do that for the 3 hours you'd be gone, So
That's what wives are for.
Yeah, exactly, and other things. So I would assume so. I really would think he's showing up. And you had said that when we talked about this earlier, like how long will the chance last? Will there be chance? Ah, God. And I'm thinking,
That's
if they do this, they better do it in the fucking beginning. Do they start off the fucking show like this? Because otherwise, it's going all fucking
Are
night
you
long.
envisioning? So there's a pre. So are you envisioning it starts at the pre-show and runs and then gets even louder?
Fuck. I am.
Can you see the women's? Can you see the women's War Games match being ruined by the chance?
No, because I think they like Rhea. If it was two other,
She's not in the War Game.
Oh, I thought you said the women's title match. Yeah, the women's
The
War
women's
Game match.
War Bearing in mind, you're starting with a match. The problem with War Games is what we talked about before, where there's no pin. It is, it's everybody can wrestle now. We get that, smacked over our heads. But you're having 20 minutes where you're telling everybody no one's getting pinned here. Everyone has to come into the ring.
Yeah, that's what
perfect.
sucks.
It's perfect time. Perfect time to chant his name
It
a lot.
Is. Fuck. God. I don't know. It feels like I'd like to say the fans are more educated now and like know when to shut the fuck up. But then again, we get the what chant still, which is fucking. It bothers me. It's like, oh, shut the fuck up.
But when you say educated, when you say educated, you sound like it annoys you. Like, you're not the WWE. Like, it's not your company. So are you not entertained by the sabotage and the taking over of the show?
Yes, I am. I do like a fucking, craziness. At the same time, I want it to be a fucking surprise. And when people are chanting it the entire time, it feels like it's known. It's no big deal. It's not a surprise. Like when, if people are going, oh, I got a special mystery partner, and you hear the whole crowd start to fucking chant the mystery fucking partner. You go, I like it to be fucking announced and then everybody go crazy, And, ahead of time, they're screaming the person's name for fucking 20 minutes and it's supposed to be, but both wrestlers have no clue who they're talking about. Oh, who are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Meanwhile, the crowd is screaming it,
That's the thing. AEW, because they wanted to sell out the building and do a rating, they made it very clear.
Yeah, that sucked.
That Punk was coming.
Yeah, so, I didn't like that either. I was like, don't fucking tell people he's going to be there. What the fuck? But they have no choice. They need to fucking get people.
Yeah, because otherwise no one watches.
Yeah, did you see the fucking attendance records for like this weekend? It was like 3,000 for AEW in Chicago, and then fucking 25,000 or whatever.
Well, apparently the one by you, they're claiming they did 13,000.
Oh, over with Oakland?
Yeah, what's it called? The Forum.
Oh, in Kia, by me. I love when you always think that LA is right next to me. Yeah, that one, I was waiting to see pictures in the seats and shit like that, because that one, the thing is, you would think it was in the fucking, Staples Center, and it wasn't. It was in a fucking smaller, place that was, cut in half and all that kind of shit. So, yeah, and I think it's because it's pay-per-view. Like, they do better in a pay-per-view.
Yeah, I still think the pay-per-view was overly long. There were bits on there that didn't need to be on there. That was my main takeaway from watching that. I think we've done some sort of show this week where we talked about a pay-per-view. I can't remember what we did. Was it Informer? Yeah.
Yes, it was. Informer. It was in Informer.
Yeah, so we've done that already. But yeah, I am going to Royal Rumble, so I would rather he come out and get one of the numbers there. Selfishly, it'll be mixed feelings. Obviously, it's a great thing to watch, and if you don't attend shows and you don't have any money, then it doesn't matter to you. You probably do want to see it this weekend. But I make decent money, and I don't have to be here. I can be there. I've made the choice not to be, just about, because I was looking at my options this week. I've Googled flights, hotels, accommodation, who can sort me out a free ticket, whatnot.
Yeah, the
Looked
Holiday
at
Inn
all of
by
that.
the fucking right by the Rosemont Horizon is like $100. That's it.
Yeah, there's still a flight I can get right now. I can still get a flight tomorrow in the
My
morning.
cousin
I can
showed me
still
like
get.
hotels. He was like, "This is right next to the fucking place, and it's a nice place. It's $100." Like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, see, if you told me that 2-3 days ago, I might have actually gone for it. It's weird timing. Like, I wasn't planning to go at all. Usually, I can just go to any pay per view on the drop of a dime. I can just get the money to just without going. My rule is just don't fucking touch the savings account. Which in the savings account always requires me to go in with identification, withdraw it in person, and they always ask you, "It's your fucking money." They always say to you, "Well, what do you need this? What do you need this for?" And I actually I'm entitled to say, I want Coke and whores, and this is the only thing it's going towards: Coke, whores, and partying, because it's mine. Fuck you. Like, it's none of your business what I need it for. It shouldn't be, but you still do get asked that question. So that's the account I don't go into. So normally in my regular account there would be money for this, but I spent £5,000 this week on Paul Gascoigne for a private signing for my website. So that's why it would have to be a savings account thing. And once you dip into that account for something like this, then that forever becomes accessible. It's sort of the only time I've been into the account in the last 5 years was when I actually decided to go to America for a full month. It was like the first time I'd been there since COVID. And it was like, I'm not going for 1 week, 2 weeks. I'm fucking going for a month. I was just adding shit to it constantly. It started at SummerSlam in Nashville. Then it became, let's see Nick for a week first before I go. Then it became, fuck it, this is near Florida. Let's add another fucking 2 weeks on the other side of it as well. So it just became a holiday that got absolutely out of control. I think I'd spent about $8,000 before I even got there. And then another 5 or 6 while I was there as well. So it was just fucking stupid and best holiday I've had. But yeah, so this is the thing. Once you open that door, it's like fucking with it's the same with any kind of bad habit. Like, you don't touch that cigarette, don't have that drink, don't take that drug. Once you start, like, it's like an issue. So I tend not to do it. And I have been so tempted to take multiple occasions to take that visit there, which includes speaking to you. We've mainly been speaking to you about how I can do it for the £1,500 that's in my regular account, because £1,500 is about $2,000. If I could go for $2,000 tomorrow, someone said, here's a way to do it for $2,000. There's for a ticket, a decent ticket, flight, hotel. You can do it for $2,000. I'd get it right now. I'd get on that 11 a.m.
Well, how
flight
much is
tomorrow.
the flight?
I'd be
Because
out.
other than that, you're getting a free comp ticket probably. And then if the hotel's $1,000, how much is the fucking airfare then?
What do you mean? Hotels shouldn't be $1,000?
No, I said the hotel's $100. And you get a comp ticket. How much is the airline? Because otherwise, then it's
the airline.
fucking nothing. It's the airplane that's costing you any money.
Well, it's getting more and more and more and more. Like a normal flight to Chicago is $550, but if you book it on the day, it'll be $680 tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean,
$680.
You're not even spending $1,000. I don't think.
God, you got to get the ticket, and I've got to get the ticket. Got to get the hotel. Got to get the Uber there, Uber back to the airport, food. It does add up. But yeah, it can be done within budget. Yeah, but is the other side of it is that is he even going to be there? Like that's been the main problem. The main problem for me hasn't been affordability, because the money's always there. I'll go to my my main bank, my savings account, whatever, and just get the money out. If someone said to me, if someone like a wrestler or one of the sources that I use for news had turned around and said, yeah, we're expecting him tomorrow, he's on some kind of run sheet or whatever, then I'd be going. but that information has been withheld from everybody.
Mm.
What will be the most satisfying, one of the more satisfying bits about it, will be the fact that I am the only one on record that said there's been any kind of offer as well. These other dirt sheet people who don't know anything and mostly guess have just played it safe with the whole, he's not coming, we've been told he's not coming. Well, of course you've been told he's not coming, you fucking knobs. Like, what else are they going to tell you? Oh yeah, he's signed, he's coming. Like, they're not. No one's going to tell you anything. And their sources are so down the bottom. They're like runners and assistants. They're like people that get coffee and they basically see whiteboards. The person who talks to Sean Ross Sapp probably gets coffee and walks past the whiteboard, which is why he gets the run sheet so late. Because by that point, all the wrestlers can see the order of the show.
Yeah.
So that's what. So he's basically asked, when he says we asked but we didn't get any answers. He asked a coffee maker what was happening. That's the level of his information. So I'm trying to always ask as high up as I can possibly go, but nobody is telling me. Certainly, no wrestler is telling me anything about it, which is a fucking pain in the ass. I'd love to be able to turn around and go, look, I want to come to this if this is happening. You don't have to tell me yes or no, but just tell me if I should buy a ticket or not. But no.
Have you tried to ask that of somebody?
A couple of people that don't know.
Man, I wonder if they don't know. I guess they probably wouldn't know.
I wonder if this would be a thing where, and you know what? I don't hear being talked about enough on podcasts. Like when people say, "Oh, Vince," people still just go, "Oh, Vince, Triple H, Vince, Triple H, Vince, Triple H." It's Ari Emanuel, and Ari Emanuel's a name I don't fucking hear on any podcast. It kind of shows you how entwined with the wrestling bubble these people are, because they can't kind of adjust to what's really going on, which is a different set of people make the final decisions. Ari Emanuel is now Vince. He's number one. He's on the top of this new company, TKO.
Mm-hmm.
If CM Punk is there, Ari did it. Ari talked to him. Ari's the one hiding him somewhere. Ari, Nick Khan, still Vince as well. But, there's a chance, not a great chance, but I'm saying there is a chance that Triple H hasn't been told. And CM Punk is on a plane tomorrow and he comes in. And he comes in on a box fan, and they tell him, get him on the fucking show. Find free. We can't. We weren't telling. We have to tell. We're going to tell you today. We need you to free up 10 minutes on the show for something that we want to put on the show.
Jesus Christ! I don't think. You imagine how pissed? I'd be so fucking pissed.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. But I'm just saying, like, it's possible. Yeah. It's possible that he doesn't know today, because that show's not been timed out yet. That show won't get timed out till tomorrow.
Mm. Yeah. So,
but let's say final say yes or no. What's he doing, and what's he doing next?
I say he's there, and I say it's the Nakamura thing, and that comes from. I won't say it comes from you, but you're the reason why I think that is. And then after all the fucking clues that have been going on with Nakamura was like right after you had said to me, if anything, it's going to be with Nakamura. And then all hell started breaking loose with Nakamura with the clues and shit. And I was like, motherfucker. And that's the only time I saw it. So yeah, my hope is we see Nakamura stroll to the fucking ring. I'm worried that,
and then what's next for him? So say he comes in, he beats Nakamura, then what? That was amazing. Like in terms of maybe that's a stumbling block in terms of what are we doing then?
Well, I think then you're going to get a real storyline with Nakamura, and because it's Nakamura going, what the fuck? I didn't expect him to show up. So then you get a real fucking match, one of those things. But it would make more sense for the WWE to have him be at the Rumble. I know it's just because it's Chicago. That's the only reason anyone thinks this in the first place. Otherwise, there would be zero fucking reason for him to be at Survivor Series. There's no fucking reason other than
it's not just
Chicago.
that. It's because you have a wrestler talking about, I want you to come show yourself and all this shit. It's not just that. It's not just Chicago. It's not just. There's been many shows in Chicago where he's been available over the last 9 years, and he hasn't. And there hasn't been this kind
it's
of
been
rumor.
since all hell broke loose, and he's looking to stick it up their ass. That's the only reason.
Yeah, but you also have a dude saying, "Show yourself, come out. I'm waiting for you."
Yeah, but I mean
that doesn't help.
Fuck. I mean, it makes more sense like if it was at the Rumble, because I think if he doesn't show up here, I think a lot of that speculation and noise goes away. And I think they are into surprises more than anything else. Sure, there'll be some going like us going, oh, maybe this is to throw us off the track and we'll get it at Rumble. But I think for the most part, people will give up and be like, all right, well, if he didn't come in Chicago, he ain't coming. And then it's the bigger surprise.
Yeah, but I think that reaction to that, which you're right about again, won't be felt weeks down the line. It will be immediate. It will be in terms of 90 minutes into that show, they will start to realize they're not getting that. And then this crowd will become sour. And it will affect the pay-per-view.
Yeah. I mean, it could turn into the Mysterio being number 30,
Yeah, it could be. And I think that's what they don't want, which that's why you got that one day offer on the table, which I'll still be surprised if he doesn't take it. But
and why wouldn't you?
It's
an easy fucking payday.
Yep. I'll be watching it at home though. I think still has some time. Still looking while we did the show as well.
It's gonna be the last show you hear, Billy, because it'll be fucking swinging from the fucking chandelier.
Yeah, it's that thing. Like I said on one of the other shows this week, it's like if you never go, if you're not in the habit of going to sport, then it doesn't matter. Like you're not conditioned to do it. You're conditioned to be watching most things at home. So that it is what it is. I'm not conditioned to doing that. I've watched my sports team play horrendously so many times this year. I've been to so many average wrestling events that to miss this would be ridiculous. Given that there is no reason to miss it. But yeah, but I think I'm still looking now. The flight is at 10:25 a.m. Lands in Chicago at 1:45. Lufthansa, 538 pounds.
It ain't that fucking. It ain't fucking that expensive.
Oh no, it went up 642. It was loading.
The other one that Punk was going.
No, the other one was a connection somewhere.
Well, is that all we got to talk about here? Are we about through with this show?
Yeah, we're through.
All right, kids. We'll be back next week. Make sure you listen. We put out a free Hulk Hogan spotlight, and that is just a taste for the Freebirds, because part 2 and probably part 3, I would assume there's going to be 3 parts of this, if not more, because we just start talking about Hulk Hogan and things start going crazy. So we did a superstar profile. I call them spotlights just because of the old magazines. And we're going to be doing that quite often. Let us know how you guys like that. If you guys would prefer a lot of those, we have fun actually doing it. And we're only through a little bit. We're only getting into the mega powers at this point of Hogan's career. So to go through all of Hogan's career, I think it's going to be a few episodes. So that's a little trial for everybody to try. And then if you like that, you want to hear the rest of those shows, you're going to have to subscribe on the Dirty Sheets. That is it. You could check us out at Dirty Sheets X on Twitter, Billy at Lock Betting X on Twitter, on X as well. And enjoy your pay-per-view. Check out over at what is it? At Lock Betting is the or is it where you go to Lock Betting to find the betting preview? That's what I'm trying to say. And where we go over the odds of all the matches. Yeah, Lock Betting podcast. You'll see it over there where we go into all of the matches. We just don't go into depth like we did into these last 3 matches for sure. That's why we wanted to give you guys a few things over here. So that's it. I'm Cav. He's Billy. Have a good time.